Hello and welcome to episode 13 of Davo the Dalek, full-size Dalek build. We're up to part 2 of the shoulder section and specifically working on the gunbox. In Dalek anatomy, the shoulders sit here, between the skirt and the neck, and are the foundation of all Dalek armies.
Head and shoulders, knees and toes.
Here's the progress shot from the first part of the shoulder build. You can see here that I've built the frame out, and the next step is to work on the gunbox. So the gunbox is the mounting for the gun and the arm, and it kind of protrudes through the shoulder section. This whole shoulder section was built with fiberglass for the TV show, and with these wooden versions, the box itself is made separately and inserted through the skin of the shoulders to expose the mounts for the gun and the arm. Now I've gotten to the gun box, I can put my Triton WorkCentre to use. If you don't know these things, these were a staple of every handyman's garage in the 1980s. Huge success story for the inventor. Look, they're great, but they're not. As long as you do a 90-degree angles and stuff. No, these guys are good. It can be a bit of a pain in the ass to set up and that sort of stuff. But it's certainly better than no table saw at all. Anyway, you can pick them up these days, which I did. Well, I had the camera rolling, I thought, but you might recognise this whole colour from the previous video. I just used it to cut out the, don't know if you can see on that one shot, but anyway, that's the front of the gun box, as it's called in the Dalek. Just use the same hole colour, cut out the front holes in that. Works like a treat. But I don't want to overuse it and blunten it before I cut out all the holes on the Dalek split, because there's 58 of them, I think, to cut out. I've skipped videoing cutting out all the panels for the gun box itself. I used 12mm ply, and the angles are pretty nasty to work with, and I decided I was going to fix a lot with filler at the end. I'm nailing this thing together fairly roughly first up, and then the plan is to glue and re-nail it once I get things square and straight and figure out where I'm going to fill the angles basically. So after I've nailed this thing roughly together and got it sorted, just got a bit of glue between each of the joins and nail it up. No matter what I do, there's going to be some filler involved in this, so I've decided don't have to be too precious. Don't have to be too precious at all. So that's the box sides together. Just got to work on positioning the front. Yeah. Okay, just run some glue, should be straightforward from here. The front face will square this one up. Recording, bastard. Alright, there we go. Here I am test fitting the assembled gun box. You can see the front stay where it meets the face of the gun box. I have to cut a slot in there because the gun box actually slots around the front stay, if that makes sense. It will shortly anyway. I've already cut the hole in the other side of the slot. I'm just going to cut out the slot part now. And rather than, I could jigsaw it out, even circular saw it out. By the time I mess around with that and get safety gear on and everything, I might as well just do it by hand. So, doing it by hand. Here's the gun box with the slot cut out. This is the slot down here, which you can see goes into the front stay. I've marked out dimensions according to the Project Dalek website, where the skin connects with the gun box here. Okay, I've not really looked at how other Dalek builders have done this because I've just been working off the Dalek plans themselves. But what I will do is just put a piece in here, just wedge a piece in behind that to hold this in place, right? And it'll be glued around the front and that sort of thing. Around this upright, with these pieces underneath to really sort of support it. With the gun action up, down, left, right, there's going to be some some forces here that I need to support the gun box for. But I also want to make it as lightweight as possible. So this will probably be cut out in a semicircle because it's not actually structurally necessary. Try and reduce some weight, and the same, there's a panel down the bottom, I'll do the same to that as well. Here's the gun box. I'm just going to take you through a few things. So I've got here the ball joint, which will be at the end of the arm or the gun. I think it's the Dalek gun. That goes in the back here. And as you can see, it will pivot around the front. Now to keep that in place, it needs to have a... well, first up, we've got a rebate in here, an angle chamfer in here to accommodate the, there's some toes, to accommodate the ball, some extra surface area, plus it brings the ball out closer to the front, I guess. But I also had to rebate this area here because the ball's clashing against the wall. I think this is only a problem on the Mark III Dalek, so I've actually got a grinder out and took that material out so the ball would fit in there. The ball joints are held in position by frames like this, and it's just a friction sort of joint, and these are held in tight by having 4 bolts in the corners with wing nuts to vary the tension on it. So if you're driving along, you want it to be straight or whatever, you'd tighten up your tension, and you want to be able to move it around to point at objects or people. Then you'd back it off a little just so you can move it around and stay in position without drooping, I guess. So yeah, that's a work in progress. Got to finish that. I don't know yet how I'm going to fix bolts to this. There's not much space on this Mark III's version gun box. In an earlier video when I was talking about my plan for mounting the gun box, I was just talking about putting in a piece behind the gun box to hold it in position, but I've decided to take it right back to the upright to give it extra strength. This upright has the mortise and tenon joints top and bottom, so it's nice and strong, and we transfer some strength back to that because we've got the forces of the gun and the arm inside the gun box moving around, etc. And this will transfer some extra strength back to that. This is just a bit of packing on the front here just to raise the height of the back of the gun box. Alright, one last thing, and that's just to show you a test fit of the gun box here. Line up the center stay, and it should just wedge itself in without distorting the, there we go. So it's wedged itself in without distorting the frame. And it sits back on here and on top of the packing underneath. There'll be some more supports on the front, which I'll get to, but this is where it's at. I've also added some extra material on the upright here, an extra 12 millimeters, because we have skin meeting and mounting here. So the rear piece of skin comes to here, front piece of skin comes to here, and just a 12 millimeter upright was not enough to nail and fix it to, so I just added a little bit extra onto this side of it to mount the rear skin. Here's a glorious shot of the gun box mounted in position. The next step will be the skin. I won't be gluing the gun box in until I've got the skin sorted out. That'll be the next step. This is my journey to live the dream. Come along with me on my build journey down the wormhole.